Hi, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Brownsville in Motion. I'm outside at Linear Park in the sunshine, the fresh air, with my very good friend to welcome, Commissioner Linda Macias. Linda, thank you for coming by.
Absolutely, and thank you for the invitation. I remember you speaking about making this happen, and we're here now. And so I'm very excited to be partaking into this new venture of yours.
I wanted to make sure we had some episodes inside, some episodes outside, and I thought the perfect person to bring outside was you, because you like the outdoors and the parks and the green space.
Yes, it's honestly such a beautiful place, and we have so many wonderful places in Brownsville, and I'm glad you're able to highlight that.
Absolutely. So tell us about you, Linda. Where are you from? Where did you go to school? What do you want people to know about Linda Macias?
Absolutely. So Linda Macias is born, raised, and educated in Brownsville, Texas. I graduated from Hannah High School, class of 2010. I then went on and graduated from UTB TSC in 2013 with a bachelor's in criminal justice. And then I received my master's in counseling in 2018. So my background has always been in education. I did 10 years of school counseling.
Wow.
And I really thought that I was going to be there for another 20 years. I thought that's what I was going to do, is just retire being a school counselor. But God had other plans for myself. And now you and I are here sitting down on this bench about to talk about some interesting stories.
It's true. You know, I think that being a school counselor is a lot like being a city commissioner. Your interest, your focus is on what's best for the people of Brownsville as opposed to the individual student. And I think that that's a real calling that not everybody receives. So you have two beautiful daughters. What are their names?
Yes. So I have a 5-year-old named Madeline and a 3-year-old named Robin.
And Madeline loves to draw on my chalkboard in my kitchen, so I like that. So you're really busy, and you had lots of reasons not to get involved in public office. So what happened that led you to even begin to think about running for city commissioner?
Yeah, you know, if someone would have told me in my early 20s that one day I would be a city commissioner, I would run for office, I would tell them that they're lying and that would never happen. But, you know, this happened organically. Truly what inspired this, I've always been one to help. I understand what suffrage is like, and that's something that we all have in common, is we know what suffrage is like. And really one small act of kindness alleviates pain from someone. So, you know, my mother has always been someone that was very helpful. She was involved in the church. You know, she was always helping out as many people as she could because she understood suffrage nonetheless. She had me fairly young. She was about 16, 17 when she had me. And in July of 2020, there was a huge, massive infection rate of COVID.
Sure.
And unfortunately, my mom was one that had COVID. She was about 46, 47 at the time when it happened. So she got infected with it. And unfortunately, due to COVID, she ended up passing away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So she was fairly young. And it's something that I never imagined ever going through. I imagined having my mom till she was 90 years old. And my future with my mom was a vision of me pushing her in a wheelchair and us going to go eat at restaurants. And when this happened, it just felt so surreal.
Yeah.
You know, going through my grieving process, being a counselor, I understood the 5 stages of grief, but it really was a turning point for me to have an eye opener and say, hey, you know what? Life is truly so short, and you never think that someone you love so much will pass.
No.
You think you'll have them forever, and you never think you yourself, anything could happen to you, but nobody's exempt from pain or grief or death nonetheless. And so that really was a pivotal moment in my life, and it was a turning point in my life. And at that point I had to make a decision. You know, my mom was fairly young when she had me. You know, I finally felt like in my life I had it together, you know, being a school counselor, being a homeowner. I was like, okay, this is my life for the rest of, you know, as long as I live. And, you know, that happened, and it was like, okay, well, what now? And so I didn't want my mom's passing just to be her passing. I wanted to continue her life. And so as someone who helped out a lot, I decided that I would live for her in helping out others. And that's what I started to do. I started to get very involved in the community. I started to donate at any donation drive that I could possibly attend to. If anybody needed help in selling tickets, I would help sell tickets. And that's kind of how I started to get involved within the community. And it was really for the love of my mom that I started doing this. And so nonetheless, term limits went into effect and District 2 became an open seat.
That's right.
And so I know you mentioned earlier, you know, we're busy. I was a school counselor. You know, I'm a mom of 2 young girls. At that time, my youngest was 6 months and my 5-year-old was about 3 years old. So very young. And I really thought to myself that if this is something that I really wanted to proceed with, one, I had to have the support of my family if they were okay with that.
Yeah.
But second, why I felt a huge calling as a parent is because we have to set the role. We have to be the role models. We have to set those examples at home. We can't tell our children to be strong and be brave and then stay in the comfort of our home. We can't tell them to go out and believe in yourself, and yet we don't do that ourselves. So I felt an immense sense of inspiration and motivation as a mother. And really my campaign was dedicated to my mother, with the love of a mother, to my daughters, and for the love of the community, for helping me to grieve throughout that time.
Well, you know, I'm so sorry to hear about your mom, but what a beautiful memory to do for her in her memory, and what an incredible role model of choice to show your daughters that giving back is something that is kind, but it's also brave. And I think we need to teach that to all of our children. So what was your campaign like? Was it a family affair? Did your girls go with you? How did you work that?
Yeah, you know, the campaign was something that I never expected to go through. I really didn't know what to get through. You know, I submitted my name and put my name on the ballot, but after that, it's like, okay, what's next? And wherever I doubted, I really felt so blessed because God would send the right person to me and they would have the answer that I needed at that time. So whenever I doubted, there was that reassurance. There was someone that would come along the way and tell me something, or they would help me out, or they would give me advice on how to run a campaign. And so, you know, one thing about a counselor, I realized that there was a lot of similarities between a school counselor and a commissioner. Sure. Because as a school counselor, it's important for us to listen to the needs of our students and our parents and to help them fill out any gap that there is and fill it in with a resource from the community to ensure that educational success.
Sure.
And see, as a commissioner, it's important to listen to the constituents and to ensure that whatever need there is within that precinct or community, we come in here and fill it in with whatever resources we have as a city.
And if there are none, we create them.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So, you know, it was kind of just taking that same, you know, position and implementing this into this new role. And it was definitely a learning curve throughout the campaign. But most importantly, it was about positivity and reminding myself that I believed in the skill set that I had to be able to serve District 2. And in these last 2 years, we've been able to get a lot done. I never thought that being a commissioner, I would be able to fill in this role. But nonetheless, seeing everything that we've been able to accomplish with passion and help and listening to the constituents has gotten us a lot done.
I agree. And not just in your district, because people forget, I think, that even though you're the commissioner for District 2, you still are one vote on the commission, whether it's an item in District 3 or 4 or citywide, you still have the opportunity and the responsibility to weigh in on all of those issues. So your vote goes a lot further
than District 2, and I think that's something that people forget.
Absolutely. And even though I'm the representative of District 2, the way I view it, you know, I go out and eat in District 3.
Exactly.
My kids, you know, go to school in District 4. And, you know, I love to go and visit family in District 1. So even though I represent a district, I still fight for all of Brownsville because at the end of the day, we all live within this community. So I want to ensure that every district grows together.
And that's really the only way I think that the city thrives is that all its parts, just like your own body, if your arm is sick or your liver is sick or your foot is sick, the person is not going to thrive. And in this case, that's what you've described in terms of the form of the city, so to speak. So you earned that seat I remember telling you congratulations, and you came over, I think it was the next day or the day after, and to talk about, what do I do now, or what comes next. And so you got the seat, and you've been there a little over 2 years, right?
Yes.
So in that time, what do you think has been the biggest surprise that you did not expect to experience in that seat?
Yeah, in school counseling, we have a campus assessment. We work on this whole campus assessment need packet.
Okay.
And you have all the data from the campus, the demographics, stats, readiness, etc. And you have to fill that in before the school year to know more or less where you're going and what the needs are.
Okay.
And I sort of did the same thing too as a district commissioner. I wanted to see, the district assessment needs. And I did that only by being able to have conversations with individuals in District 2.
Sure.
I realized that there's a lot of individuals that try to fight for their communities. And it was really neat to be able to communicate and talk to them and hear their stories about how they fixed the drainage within their neighborhood, or how they got lighting in a certain area, or how they fought to get their road paved. And so being able to listen and see, in District 2, we have 12 different precincts. 2 of those precincts have less than 7 individuals or 7 houses, but nonetheless, those 10 precincts all have different needs.
Of course.
And so nobody's going to know your area more than you. So being able to just talk to individuals, get to learn about their problems, jot them down, and become versed on those problems, I already knew what I had to come into and work with. But I'll say one of the biggest surprises that I didn't have in that needs assessment plan was I had an area nearby, Padre Highway 48 and Robindale, and they contacted me. It was a neighborhood. And this neighborhood discussed about pollution within their area. And it had been going on for 20 years. This was something that I never knew.
Yeah.
I was not aware of this. And this is something that I didn't think I would ever be fighting for. I thought about streets and drainage and parks, and that was really in the plan. But to be able to fight for a neighborhood, to have quality of air, was something that was never in that needs assessment. And that's the way it is. Sometimes we have to pivot with whatever issues are at hand, and we work through them. So I would say definitely that issue right there was something that I did not expect to ever go into, but it was really a one city approach.
I remember when that issue came up so early in your tenure there as a commissioner, and I remember thinking, gosh, I've been here several years. I've never heard about this. It must not be that big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Totally surprised me too when more and more came out and more findings happened, only because you did the due diligence to search through there and dig through all of that. And I remember at the end thinking, wow, you can be a sitting senior commissioner and not know a lot of stuff. You don't know what you don't know, so to speak. And my hat was always off to you that you did that due diligence, because there are some that wouldn't have done it. They would have just pat those folks on the head and walked away for another day. So kudos to you.
No, and I really
that.
appreciate your support. This is an issue that it's difficult. You want to be good to the small business, but you also want to prioritize neighborhoods and health.
Yeah.
And so to me, that was very important.
Yeah. It reminded me of when we built Belden Trail, and it had the right of way had really become an alleyway. And when we did the public outreach for the trail design, families came up to us and told us that they never let their children out to play. And I thought, I live about a half a mile from here. How can it be that someone that lives a half a mile from me never lets their kid? Why don't you let your kids out to play? And they said, well, it's not safe because kids drag race through the alleyway. And so that, again, you don't know what you don't know. Absolutely. In that case, it was not pollution, but it was inactivity and fear that their kids were going to get injured. And so I feel what you went through. Absolutely.
You know, and it was right after I was sworn in. I mean, I had these phone calls 2 weeks being sworn in and saying, hey, help us. And so I think a big difference for me was being able to visually see what they're going through. Yeah. And that's something that I like to do. I'm hands-on. I want to see for myself what is going on and have my own visual interpretation of it, and to also see what can we do about it. Yeah. And so being able to see so much pollution to the point where it was penetrating their homes, it was in the bottom of their swimming pools. Kids couldn't go outside. I mean, they were depleted from so many vitamins because they couldn't even go outside and play in their playground. And this was really a pivotal moment for me to know that there are things that could happen within our city and not know about it. Because that'd been the first time. I mean, I live about a mile away from that, and I've never heard about that. So being able to live it and see it for myself made a true difference in me. And seeing people asking you desperately for help also really does something to you. It motivates you because they're believing in you. Yes. And at the end of the day, I was elected to serve. And people believed in me to be in this seat and to serve. And so I always want to be able to be a part of that mission and do my job to its full capacity. And so, I mean, nonetheless, we worked hard on it for a year. It was a 20-year issue. And we worked very hard on it for a year. We integrated multiple offices and representatives. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had State Representative Erin Gomez involved. We had State Senator Morgan Lamantia. I even contacted UTRGV to see if there was a professor that could possibly do a quantitative data study to be able to measure the air quality from outside and inside, to be able to see if this substance that was inside, if there's a positive correlation as to what the company was, what they were working with. And I mean, we worked with them. We worked with every department within the city, the health department, and ironically, UTRGV had an air quality specialist professor, and he did have air quality machines, and he did the study. And that study ended up coming out that area was 400 times more polluted than any other precinct in all of Brownsville.
So that was a really complex issue that a senior commissioner would have had to take a minute to figure out which direction to go. And I have to say that for you to be given that issue right as you sat in your chair, right as you sat down, was really difficult. And it told me a lot about you because you didn't just let it go. You did the work that was needed, just kind of feeling your way, if you will, as you came out of the chute.
And I would tell you that we had about 15 town halls with that neighborhood.
I remember.
And we worked well with TCEQ as well. And so we ended up as a city coming to an agreement, and they ended up leaving November 24 of 2024. And so I do see some of the residents from the neighborhood from time to time, whether it's at Chuck E. Cheese or at a park, and they stop me and they thank me. They thank me for my work, and they say, thank you so much that because of you, I can have a carne asada.
Isn't that awesome?
And because of you, I can now celebrate Easter and host things at my house. And I ran into another lady, and she told me, because of you, I was able to purchase a new playground set, and now my grandkids can go outside and play. So it's those simple things in life. And I'm glad that we as a commission, as a city, as a community came together to help that community.
I mean, for me, when someone says something like that, it makes the struggle worthwhile, that all of the energy and capital you expended to get to that point, it was like, okay, it wasn't that bad. This is good. This is good. It was worthwhile. So that's terrific.
So most definitely, Rose, something that I did not expect was that we think commissioners are just a certain, it's roads or drainage or fix this pothole. But sometimes as commissioners, it's about improving the life of others. And so that's something that I really didn't, ponder about, the significance role that we have in improving the lives of others. So that was one that I didn't expect to fight off a company. And I will tell you that TML, Texas Municipal League, selected the city of Brownsville to be able to speak about this story to other city leaders and inform them that, It's important for us to advocate for communities. And this was a prime example, and how we had the one city approach.
Absolutely. And then the city attorney, for all the city attorneys in the state of Texas, they also have their own conference, and they selected our city attorneys to be able to talk about this issue and educate all of the city attorneys across the state.
There you
go. What to do. So this is a remarkable story, and we really lit the example with this.
That's terrific. That's terrific.
So you've sat in your chair for a little over 2 years again, and now at the end of your term, whenever that is, and hopefully it won't be for another term after that, what do you want people to look back on, or what do you want to look back on and said, I'm proud I did that? What is the signature project, if you will, that you want to leave behind to celebrate for the next generation?
Absolutely. So in District 2, there are many issues, and so we're working hard to solve those. Of course, there are bureaucratic processing, and there's also budgetary constraints that come with that. Trust me, if money weren't a problem, we would get everything done in District 2. There are a couple of things that I would like to improve within there. And number one, the mill-wide pollution is definitely a big story and a big win. Number two that I had on there was definitely parks. So District 2 has 45,000 residents. And within that, we have 4 different parks. We have Portway Acres, we have Central Park, we also have Charlie Kabler Park, we have Glore Park, and it's a set of swings. Nonetheless, those 3 that I mentioned, they're all considered pocket parks.
Right.
We also do have the Paseo de la Resaca Trail system that is closer by the Brownsville Event Center. But rather than that, those are the only things that we have. And the 3 that I mentioned, the first 3 that I mentioned, are on the same road. They're on North Central Avenue, meaning that there isn't disparity of other parks within the district. So people don't have the accessibility of being able to walk on safe, nice places.
So to go to a park, if I interrupt you, you have to get in your car to go to a park.
Absolutely.
You can't walk unless you live along Central in that area. You can't come home from work, put on your sneakers,
and let's go
grab your kids and let's go for a walk or to play on the swing. So that is a barrier. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there are 46 parks in all of Brownsville.
Yes.
And to see that District 2 has 4 of them, it tears me apart.
Yeah.
So I want to ensure, I'm kind of like the mom, like, hey, I want my kid to have this too, So I want to ensure that we have as much amenities within the district to improve the quality of life there. So one of the things that we did do is we purchased the land that you were a part of.
Yay.
We purchased 24-acre land off of Robinda and Old Port Isabel Road. We are dedicating that space over to a park. But we're doing also a drainage project. So this drainage project is important because it'll impact anywhere between 800 to 1,000 homes within the area. And this will also help the drainage in Boca Chica.
Right.
So every time it rains, we see Four Corners kind of,
go under.
Yeah, flood over there. It's because it doesn't have the place of water to get to. So nonetheless, with this land, we purchased it. We're being proactive. We're going to do first phase is a drainage. Second phase, we'll add in some walking trails around there. And then third phase, we'll add the amenities. So we're looking at basketball courts. We don't have basketball courts really in the district except for Portway Acres.
Sure.
That's the only place that we have it in. A soccer field. We don't have a dedicated soccer field in the district. So those are just some major wins to be able to say, hey, we're getting the first of many in here. I think that's a major win. Now let's talk about roads. One of the first roads we got done was Mackenzie. That was a road that many people wanted there for 15 plus years. And to see them, they were coming out of their house taking pictures of it. They were so excited. We are working on Coffeeport Road right now. So this will be a 2-phase process. We're going to be starting from CVS 802.
Okay.
And then work our way down into Old Port Isabel Road.
Right.
So hopefully this 2026, we start off from CVS to Paderes Line Road. And then we start on second phase from Paderes Line Road over to Old Port Isabel Road. We are going to be expanding that, adding some sidewalks on there. So that's also very important. And I would love to see that. I sometimes see people walking. I see kids waiting for a bus stop in between those ditches. And that to me is a major concern. I want to ensure that people that right there that are going into HEB or, wherever they may be going to, that they have a safe avenue in order to get to their destination. And that's our job, right?
Yes,
As representatives,
it
to
is.
ensure that safety.
And that Coffee Port is a road that's actually very dangerous if you're on a bicycle. And some people, I own sneakers, I own a bicycle, I own a car. And I want to live in a city where I can use any of them at any time to go where I want to go. And Coffee Port being redone is a big move towards making it a complete street, which it's not right now. And that's important. So people that live in that area can hop on their bike to go grab a gallon of milk at HEB, or hop on their bike to go someplace, visit a friend or a family member. And I think that's going to be a really big impact to the district, but also to the city.
Absolutely.
And that park that you talked about, that's going to drain Four Corners and the trails. The other thing you don't have in District 2 is a trail that connects you to the city network. And that's unforgivable in my opinion. And even though I'm no longer a commissioner, I'm going to work hard to get you that trail, because every district should be connected to the network, not just the districts on the other side of the city. So we'll be looking for that as well.
Thank you so much. I would appreciate any help. The last one that I want to see come to fruition is Dana. So Dana Road has 3 campuses.
Yes.
Roughly around 700 students in each campus. We have some development going up there. We're working with Cameron County, the CCMRA as well, to ensure that we get that road completely repaved, expanded, and add some sidewalks as well. So we're in those plans. We're about step 4 out of 5 to begin this project. So I would really like to see these projects. I know that you asked me for one, but really I don't want to be known as just the commissioner that did this one thing. I want to be known as a commissioner that helped and gave it her all. And she did all that she could do at that seat for the people.
Point taken, absolutely. And so, you are, those are your signature projects, or what you'd really like to see. What about you yourself? When 10 years from now, let's say, what do you want the constituents, your daughters, your family to look back and say, my commissioner at that time, my mom, what would you like them to remember and take away from you as a person?
I think someone that chose to listen, someone who cared, someone who was kind, and someone who just did all that she could to ensure that her district rose up along with the city. I'm very active and energetic, and I like to focus my energy in helping others. It's just a part of who I am. And so it's kind of hard to just pinpoint that one thing. But if I could be remembered as someone who worked really hard and someone who did her all, I would be very happy with that.
So one of the projects you work on, and I, you from one year to the next has grown tremendously, is the outreach that you've given for the Ostendam Center. Tell us about that.
Yes, so I toured the Ostendam Center within 2 to 3 months of being in office. And they're a nonprofit organization. It is the only homeless shelter that we have within our community. So I want to see what this is about, especially since in my district. I do believe that it's important for us to help our directors in nonprofits, because by helping them, Brownsville's winning.
Of course.
So we can ensure that those resources are still implemented and given to the people. And I don't only support the Ostendam Center. I support the Children's Museum, Good Neighbor Settlement.
Of course.
There are so many amazing nonprofits that do great work within our community. I believe in them. I believe in their mission. And in order for them to continue being successful, we all have to put into our part.
That's right.
So nonetheless, with Ostendam Center, there was a lot of need. There still is a lot of need. But throughout my last 2 years, I've done 3 fundraisers for them. I have raised over $100,000.
That's amazing.
In that, I have been able to find a sponsor for 400 beds within the facility. We also designed a building, and they were able to build it out, a kids center. They were able to revamp. They had a portable that was dilapidated, full of mold, but they were able to renovate that completely, and it became a closet. So individuals that go there without anything, they're able to know that they could have clothes as soon as they get to the center. And so that was also very important for me. Right now we are teaming up with Lowe's Home Improvement Program, and they have selected the Ostendam Center as their improvement program. And so we're going to be out there painting, doing some touches, renovating the restrooms. So that has been very awesome to see other people chime in and other organizations and say, we're going to help. I also have another organization that's wanting to remain anonymous, but they're donating to playgrounds because there's not even playgrounds for kids to go on there. Yeah. And just some of the population that they service are women and men evading domestic violence, and they leave their homes without anything. They go there with their kids. You have veterans that end up staying there. You have individuals suffering from mental disorders as well. And so there are many populations that they service. And so I just want to ensure that if kids go there, I want them to at least have the amenities to smile and laugh and have fun, even through the suffrage that they're going through.
You know, you've proven again that we all know there's not enough money in the city budget to do everything.
Absolutely.
And just, providing public safety is enormously expensive, as you know. And so even though the city budget is huge, over 150 million, I believe, that doesn't mean there's plenty to go around. So rather than sit there and say, we can't do that, I'm not sure, maybe next year, whatever, you found a way around that. You found a way to either go through philanthropy or grants or both, or businesses, and create those funds. And that's really what it takes, in my opinion, because otherwise you can sit on the commission, in my opinion, and say, well, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that, because there's no money and there's no money and no money. And at the end of your term, what did you actually do? Which is not much. Or you can say, I'm going to support this mission, and I'm going to find a way outside the box, thinking outside the box, to gather the funds able to then make a difference. And that's, in my opinion, the difference between a commissioner that is productive and one that is less productive. So keep doing that, because there's always, even if the budget was larger,
It's always going to be areas of need that cannot be afforded under the city budget.
Absolutely. And that goes for all nonprofits. So
you'll see me supporting the Good Neighbor, and you'll see me out there with the Children's Museum, and you'll see me at the zoo, because I do believe that it matters and it impacts and it makes a difference. Yeah. Some of us think that making a difference, you need to be a multimillionaire and have all these nonprofits. And sometimes it's just showing up. Presence is power. Yeah. I agree. $1 makes a difference. $5 makes a difference. And I was only able to raise $100,000 because we had family and friends, such as yourself, that said, hey, you know what? You seem passionate about this, and I want to support you. And I believe in the mission as well. And so we're giving our part too. So,
and I think the last thing I want to say about that is that a lot of people believe that unless you have a majority on the commission, you're not going to get anything done. Well, this is just proven. And some of the work I did as well, you can do a lot even without a majority on the city commission. And to believe that you have to have the majority is very short-sighted in my opinion. But so end of the day, you've learned a lot in 2.5 years. You have 2 more years to learn even more.
Absolutely.
What would you say why do you think that other young folks like you choose not to go into public office? What do you think is their greatest hesitancy, and how can we improve that?
So I do notice that sometimes people have fear putting themselves out there, because failure is an option. Yeah. Even if you're already a commissioner and you run again, failure is an option as well. And so sometimes that creates a lot of fear within people, and it prevents them from wanting to be out there. And so something that I learned is, if you're willing to be in public service, it's just ensuring that your passion supersedes any speck of fear that you may have. And I did it because I felt passionate about what we're doing. It came in with a lot of love. It wasn't about empowerment or, being egotistic with this title, etc. It was about ensuring that we were here to serve people.
What do you say to the next generation of potential commissioners? All too often, I think people don't take the leap to run for city office. How would you inspire them? What would you say to them?
Absolutely. So definitely, I do notice that people have a lot of fear when hey, enjoy your walk. A lot of people have fear because failure is an option.
Yeah.
And putting yourself out there is scary.
Yeah.
In the essence of myself and why I ran, it was because I had a lot of passion and I believed and I had a lot of love for what we were doing and helping the community. So my passion superseded any speck of fear that I may have. And if you feel strong about public service, then it's a calling. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid to put your name out there. Sometimes the answer is you. I never saw myself as a city commissioner, but God did. He saw strengths in me that I didn't see. And just to be able to say, hey, you know what? We got funding for Coffeeport Road. We're moving on with this project of the park. We fundraised over $100,000 in the Ostendam Center. We helped out neighborhood with pollution issues that have been happening for 20 plus years. We're helping out the airport, over $20 million for the runway. Yeah. We're possibly working on an expansion. We got 32 bus shelters. I was able to advocate, and you were there too. I'm getting 15 bus shelters in District 2 this coming year. This past year, we covered over 110 potholes. I've been able to complete 35 roads. We're doing a playground in the airport as well through the advocacy and the grants from BCIC. And this is all in my district. This is all happening because I took a leap to ensure that we had representation in the district. Yeah. And so don't be afraid, I think would be my message. If you feel strong calling and your passion supersedes any fear of criticism or anything that may come out there, go for it. You could be the difference.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that makes people take a step back and decide not to is their fear of social media. We know there is a lot of negativity on social media and bloggers, and people become afraid that they don't want to be attacked in that way or their family attacked in that way. And, that's a shame that there is such negativity out there. We should be encouraging people with integrity to run for office as opposed to throwing stones at them and trying to be so very negative. Mm-hmm. So my hope is that as someone has the faith and the bravery to run, tune that out, the negativity, and start talking positively, because people respond to positivity. Absolutely. And so if you believe in yourself and you believe in your mission, the negative becomes a din that you can never get rid of, but you can lessen its effect. And that's what I always want to encourage those folks to think about is speak the positive. And positive begets positivity, I think.
And I think that message could be implemented even outside of a commissioner role. Anything that you do in life, whether you're opening up a business, people may criticize you, whether you start off a new job or a higher position or become CEO or director, whatever the position may be, starting off, even as a nurse or a teacher in a hospital, there could be criticism from anybody and anything out there. And I think it's important to know that passion can supersede all. And as for myself, I don't really tune into the negativity because I am so proud of the work that we're doing. And I pride myself in the hard work. I mean, I work 24/7. Sunday, I was riding around making sure that all the requests that had been submitted to me, they were all completed. And I like to do my little videos, and I like to, also I do a lot of follow up with individuals. I say, hey, just to let you know, this was completed. I just wanted to follow up and let you know that I'm watching out for you. And this is on a Sunday, at 10 p.m.
You don't have to do that, but you do it because you care.
Absolutely.
And that's, you take your job seriously, and that's important. It's very easy to look at an issue and think right away all of the negative reasons why it can't be accomplished. Mm-hmm. It's actually easier than trying to find the solution. Trying to find the solution is hard work.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's another mindset, personality characteristic that we need in our future leaders is not to think of all the reasons that you can't do something, but to think of all the ways that you can do something right up, first. And then, go from there. You'll accomplish more. My dad was a coach, and he used to say, shoot for excellence, because if you shoot for mediocrity, that's all you'll ever be. Mm-hmm. And I play that voice in my head a lot through these years is shoot for excellence. So maybe, it's a long shot that you're going to get what you shoot for, but you'll get further than if you shoot down here at mediocrity. So the sun is starting to set. The green parrots are coming out. Anything you want to ask me before we leave this afternoon?
I guess I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
We are working with the Boys and Girls Club at this moment. And we're just looking for some spots in the district, in District 2, to be able to place them. They do a lot of after-school homework help.
They do.
STEM, arts and crafts, and a portion of physical activity. So we're very happy to be welcoming with them in the district. Another project that I'm working on right now is called Sueños. Sueños will be an incubator / software technology. And this is for individuals that are 18 and older, no education required. They do training on site. We are going to be opening up 100 jobs. These jobs will range anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000. And this past projection that we looked at for 2025 for medium income in households is projected at $51,000.
Wow.
And so just to see how in 2010 we were at 29 to 31,000 to seeing how our community has growth in reference to its economic development, being able to say 51,000, I think it sends a very big message to everything that we're doing out there.
It certainly does. Well, I do not live in District 2, but if I did, I would vote for you.
Thank you so much. So Rose, I do have to ask you, what are you proud about?
I'm proud of putting the word and the mission of health on the dashboard in the city of Brownsville, bringing it to the conversation, because before I was elected, it really wasn't part of the conversation. Or if it was, health was spoken about in terms of tall grass cuttings, mosquito sprayings, food inspections, that perspective, which is important. We need all of that. But the conversation of personal health, population health, rates of diabetes, and so forth, was not happening. So I'm most proud of that. And as time has gone on, more and more research is affirming that a lot of these issues like diabetes begin in childhood before we even know to look, and increase the rates not only of diabetes, but hypertension and even Alzheimer's and dementia as we get older. So going back to the need for green space, active parks, accessible parks and trails, needs to start in childhood and go through teenage years and adulthood. And I'm most proud of being able to begin that conversation. The conversation has to continue. It's not over, but we've made great inroads to keeping that on the dashboard at all times.
That's amazing. There's a documentary coming out on trails.
Yes, later next week. The rail trail movement across the country began about 40, 50 years ago.
Wow.
And this is a documentary based on a book that the founder of the Rails to Trails Conservancy wrote about that story, the process of using a rail corridor that's abandoned and turning it into a rail trail movement. And the very first story in the documentary is Brownsville, Texas, because of the West Rail Trail and the fight that ensued to eventually capture a trail there. So we're going to be showing the documentary at the end of Ciclovia on next Friday night here at the Mitty Museum. So movie at the Mitty. The screen will start running at 8:00, and the doors will be open just before that, and we'll have some fancy, goofy, funny bikes on display, like a bike show, as you walk in to see the movie. And it's free. So come out and enjoy Ciclovia and see a movie on your way home.
That's awesome. Well, Rose, I also wanted to thank you just for welcoming me ever since I entered into the commission. I mean, you just try to guide me and mentor me, and I really appreciate that. I do see that there's not enough people in that sense. They see others as competition instead of, a partner or someone that can help to make an area better.
Well, it was easy to welcome you because I could see your heart right away. And so I thank you for having that bravery to run and run again.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you.
Stay tuned, everybody, for the next episode coming soon.
Thank you, Fred. I have to give you